Is your life feeling strange at 3 a.m.? The shocking truth about breaking free from the matrix. It was around 3 a.m. when the world turned upside down. Lisa lay awake in her room, the clock's relentless ticking echoing in the darkness. A shiver ran down her spine. Something felt off. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting and curling like they were trying to escape. The air was thick, as if it waited for something dreadful to unfold. Had her cat just nodded at her from across the room? She blinked, convinced that the faint glow of reflective eyes was merely a trick of her tired mind. But the hairs on her neck prickled. Something was watching. Her heart raced as she recalled the stories her grandmother used to tell, stories of the things that come out at night, creatures lurking just out of sight, stretching the boundaries of reality. Strange occurrences were flooding her mind. People disappearing, dreams merging with reality. What if they weren't just tales? What if the boundaries of the life she knew were thinner than she thought? Lisa swung her legs over the edge of the bed, the cool wooden floor grounding her. She could almost hear whispers in the air, snippets of secrets shared by the universe. Wake up. Wake up. She tiptoed to the window, pulling back the curtain just enough to peek outside. The streetlights flickered like they were stuttering in fear, and the moon glared down, a ghostly witness to the secrets of the night. Just then, she spotted a figure darting between trees, moving as fast as a blink. Was it a person? A shadow? The truth? Her chest tightened at the thought. She imagined her mother saying, "Don't be silly, Lisa. It's just your imagination." But what if it wasn't? What if something was calling to her through the veil at this unholy hour? Hey! Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The breeze gusted against her skin, a chilly whisper that urged her to step outside. Heart pounding, Lisa pulled on a hoodie and slipped into her shoes. There was a thrill mixed with fear, a beckoning to uncover the mystery looming in the darkness. She felt a lump in her throat. Was she really going to chase whatever that was? As she stepped into the cool night air, everything felt amplified. The myriad of sounds, the rustle of leaves, distant howls, and her own breath circled around her, wrapping her in a shroud of vulnerability. She was on a precipice, and she couldn't help but feel it. Something uncanny, yet electric, was about to unravel. With her heart racing faster than her thoughts, she set off towards the shadows, unaware of the true strangeness lurking ahead, the layers of her reality promising to distort, or even break. What awaited her on the other side of that thin veil, where the ordinary cracked to let the extraordinary through? The answers she craved hid in the dark, waiting for her to find them. The night was alive, pulsating with a rhythm that beat against her chest. With every step, Lisa felt the ground beneath her feet, whispering secrets of the night. She moved cautiously, the crunch of leaves echoing in the stillness, but all she could think about was that figure always just out of sight. Was it leading her somewhere? Or was it a trap, luring her deeper into the unknown? As she ventured further into the shadows cast by the old oak trees, the moonlight danced erratically, making twisted shapes on the ground. Her heart thundered in her ears, the sound a stark reminder of the danger surrounding her. One moment the world felt impossibly vast, the next claustrophobic, as if the darkness was closing in. Come closer, a voice seemed to whisper on the wind. It was soft, seductive, and it sent a chill racing down her spine. She stopped in her tracks, searching her surroundings. The trees appeared to lean towards her, their branches curling like skeletal fingers reaching out for her. Is anyone there? Her voice trembled and broke the silence. The stillness that followed was suffocating. The hairs on her arms stood straight as an unseen weight pressed against her chest. And there it was again, a flicker of movement, a shadow darting between the trees. Driven by an instinct she didn't fully understand, Lisa followed it, her pulse quickening. With every step she took, the outline of the figure became clearer, almost recognizable. It turned, and for a moment, their eyes met the piercing gaze of something not quite human. It was both terrifying and mesmerizing, a whirlwind of emotions crashing over her. "Wait," she called, her voice breaking the tension of the night. But the figure was gone, swallowed by the dark, leaving a void that felt heavier than before. Confusion gripped her. What did it want? It felt connected to her, as if she were being tugged along an invisible thread. Lisa steadied herself, inhaling deeply. She knew where she was headed, an old clearing rumored to be haunted. It had been the stuff of childhood nightmares and hushed whispers. With renewed resolve, she pressed on, the air thickening with every step. Her mind raced, conjuring fears of what lay ahead, battling against her curiosity. The clearing suddenly opened before her, a perfect circle under the stark moonlight. Everything felt surreal, the glow of silver illuminating the detritus of long-forgotten evenings. Broken bottles scattered like echoes of another life. And then, she spotted it. A stone at the center, worn and moss-covered, pulsing with an energy that called to her. Tentatively, Lisa approached the stone, feeling a magnetic pull. As she reached out, a cold breeze swirled around her, and echoes of laughter filled the air. The sound was enchanting yet haunting. "What is this place?" she gasped, unable to look away. The shadows crept closer, wrapping around her like a cloak. As her fingertips brushed against the cool stone surface, the laughter turned sinister, shifting from playful to mocking in an instant. It was as if the stone held memories, and she was meant to confront them. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain at the back of her head, a flash of blinding light, and everything faded. Lisa's world spun, the boundaries of reality crumbling fast around her, as dozens of fragmented voices buzzed in her mind. When the disorientation washed away, what remained was silence, the kind of silence that shouted danger. What had she unleashed? As darkness crept into her vision, terror twisted in her gut. She wasn't alone anymore, but was she safe? And then, she heard it, a low growl emerging from the trees, primal and menacing. "You're not supposed to be here." What had really waited for her in the shadows? Lisa blinked against the encroaching darkness, her heart racing, the growl echoing deeper into her bones. A sense of dread pooled in her stomach. She had read stories about places like this where the veil between realities was thin, and something wicked thrived just beyond the flicker of light. But this wasn't just a story. This was real. As the shadows swelled around her, she forced herself to turn, heart hammering in her chest. Each rustle of leaves sounded like whispers, secrets exchanged in the night air. The primal growl resonated through the clearing again. Something lurked, concealed by the dark, hungry eyes watching her every move. She squared her shoulders and tried to summon the courage of the heroines in the tales she had always admired. "Who's there?" she called, her voice shaky yet determined. In response, the growl morphed into a low chuckle, dripping with malice. "Curiosity often leads to danger, little one," the voice taunted, a soft rasp like a snake sliding through the underbrush. Lisa took a step back, her pulse quickening. "I'm not afraid of you," she shouted, but the bravado seemed to crack under the weight of the sound. The laughter filled the air again, echoing and coiling around her like smoke, accusatory and mockingly aware of her fear. Suddenly, from the shadows, a form emerged. Lisa's breath hitched. It was the figure, the one she had chased through the trees. But it wasn't just a figure anymore. It was full of sharp edges and hard lines, contorted into something rotten and grotesque. Twisted limbs moved with a grace that was unsettling, each step deliberate as it glided toward her. "Why do you provoke the dark?" it asked, its voice oily and smooth. "You awaken powers that should remain asleep. And for what? A fleeting thrill?" Lisa shook her head, bewildered. I just wanted to know." "Know what exactly? Your place in this world? The truth that you are trapped in a web of your own making? Or perhaps even," it leaned closer, a twisted grin stretching across a face that was more shadow than flesh. To become like me? Screams welled up in her throat, but she held them back, clamping her mouth shut, refusing to give in to panic. The stone pulsed behind her, its energy somehow reassuring. It throbbed with potential, like a heartbeat, as if it was calling her to awaken something deep within. I'm not like you, Lisa shot back defiantly. The figure recoiled, anger flaring in its eyes, a flash of molten rage amid the inky blackness. Then face the consequences of your denial, it hissed, and with a sweeping motion, it pointed to the ground at her feet. Shadows swirled and gathered in a chaotic dance, forming shapes that twisted and churned, representing her greatest fears, the memories she had long tried to bury. Lisa yelped as visions of her past flickered before her. Failures, losses, moments of regret. They stormed her mind like a dark tide, each one pulling her under. She bit her lip, desperately fighting for control, knowing she had to focus. Stop it, she screamed, anger rising to meet the wave of despair. You can't hold me here. But the figure's laughter exploded, echoing all around her. You're not in control, child. The darkness chooses what to show you. Now see it. As the shadows pressed closer, tightening their grip, Lisa felt her resolve falter. She had come searching for answers, but instead had awakened something monstrous. The air thickened with the weight of her choices, and the voice continued to taunt her. Embrace it or be consumed by it. Fury ignited in Lisa's chest. She would not let fear chain her. In a desperate surge of will, she stepped towards the stone. She could feel the energy pulse faster now, calling to her. What would happen if she harnessed its power? Would it save her or consume her entirely? As the shadows hovered like an impending storm, Lisa had to make a choice. With a breath that felt like fire, she reached out for the stone again, heart pounding, knowing it was now or never. What awaited her on the other side of this decision? Decide, Lisa, the figure roared, desperation and rage swirling. Together, this will change everything. With her heart racing, Lisa's fingertips brushed the cool surface of the stone. A spark ignited, a flare of energy that tore through her, igniting a fire in her blood. It was a warmth that filled her with a strength she didn't know she possessed. Yet it was accompanied by an unrelenting pressure that squeezed her lungs. She could feel the darkness twisting around her, sensing the intensity of her choice. The figure snarled, its mouth twisting into a wicked grin. The stone feeds on desire. You think it will save you? Every choice has a price. Lisa barely registered the warning. The power coursed through her, filling the void of uncertainty that the shadows sought to exploit. She was not afraid. She was defiant. Closing her eyes, she whispered, I embrace who I am. A pulse rang out from the stone, and a blinding light erupted, illuminating the clearing as if dawn had broken. The shadows shrieked, recoiling from the brightness. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once, a clash that vibrated through the air like a storm. As the light enveloped her, she felt a strange connection with the stone. It was as if it knew her deepest fears and regrets, transforming them into strength. They became arrows, guiding her aim through the chaos. The figure screamed, its form flickering in and out of existence. You think you're special? You're just another moth drawn to the flame. Maybe, Lisa said, her voice gaining confidence. But I'm not going to let you decide my fate. With a fierce determination, she thrust her hands toward the figure, channeling the light into a wave that surged through the clearing. It crashed against the shadows, pushing back the encroaching darkness. The growls turned to howls as the figure writhed, losing its grip. For a fleeting moment, Lisa could see its true form, a creature filled with anguish, fear, and rage. Stop! You'll regret this! It shrieked, the mask of grandeur slipping away to reveal a desperate creature scrambling for control. The boundaries of her own fears loomed, threatening to drag her back, but Lisa held firm. You don't own me. The energy surged again, and the walls of the clearing pulsed. She felt the stone grow warm, almost alive, in her grasp. In this moment, she was not the naive girl seeking adventure. She was a force to be reckoned with, tethered to her own pain but refusing to be defined by it. As the shadows began to ebb, a doorway of light shimmered behind the figure. A path back to her world opened, filled with the soft glow of a future undefined but clearly hers to shape. "Run!" The figure howled, its voice now broken, filled with a haunting desperation. It lunged at her, a desperate attempt to pull her back into its depths. Lisa took a step backward, ready to flee through the portal when suddenly, a glimmer caught her eye. The stone pulsed again, a reminder of the untapped potential within her. An idea sparked. What if that darkness could be made to work for her instead of against her? Could she harness it, bend it to her will? Her heart raced with anticipation and fear. "Time to find out," she murmured, knowing the balance she needed to strike. Would it give her power or plunge her deeper into the darkness? With a swift inhale, she leaped toward the portal, the shadows chasing behind her like wild animals at her heels. What lay on the other side? Would she emerge renewed, or would she succumb to the chaos she had conjured? As she crossed the threshold, she felt the shadows snap around her like whips, unyielding and hungry. "Choose wisely," Lisa, the figure's voice echoed, hanging in the air like a chilling promise. This was just the beginning. The decision she had made rippled outward, and the consequences would shake her world to its core. But what awaited her after crossing that line? Would the darkness reveal its secrets, or would it consume her entirely? The world swirled around Lisa, darkness clawing at her, a relentless weight pressing down on her chest. The shadows wrapped tightly around her, their icy tendrils creeping up her arms, pulling her back into a realm where fear reigned supreme. But somewhere deep within her, the warmth of the stone pulsed, igniting an inner fire that refused to be extinguished. As she stumbled out of the portal, she found herself standing in a vast, desolate landscape, a collision of vast emptiness and suffocating solitude. The ground was cracked, the sky a tumultuous gray filled with malevolent clouds that rumbled ominously. Nothing seemed alive, yet everything felt charged, as if waiting for the next act of defiance. "What is this place?" she thought, her eyes scanning the horizon for something, anything, that resembled hope. Her breath caught in her throat as she noticed a flicker of light in the distance, a beacon fighting against the encroaching gloom. It drew her in, an irresistible pull that fought to soothe the chaos inside her. She pushed herself forward, the shadows thrumming at her heels, whispering promises of power and dread. But Lisa held onto the warmth of the stone, guiding her toward the light. The closer she got, the clearer the light became, a shimmering figure standing in its own radiant glow, a silhouette against the oppressive darkness. Felt familiar yet otherworldly. Heart pounding. She shouted, "Who are you?" The figure turned slowly, revealing a face that was both hauntingly beautiful and ache-inducingly familiar. It was her, a warped reflection of herself, slightly older, with wise eyes that spoke of pain and triumph. "You came," the figure said, her voice rich like melodic thunder. "I have been waiting for you." "Waiting for me? Why?" Lisa asked, her voice trembling. "Because you alone hold the key to this realm," the figure said, stepping forward. "You can either break free from the curse of darkness or fall victim to it. You're more powerful than you realize." "But I was weak," Lisa protested, an unsettling surfacing reality clawing at her resolve. "I almost let it consume me." "The shadows will always test you," her reflection replied, sadness flickering in her gaze. "The real strength lies in confronting the darkness, and you must learn to wield it, not just fight against it." Lisa stared, a whirlwind of uncertainty amplifying in her mind. "How do I harness it?" "You felt its pull," the reflection pressed on, gesturing toward the shadows swarming around the periphery. "Your desires, fears, they are threads woven into this fabric of darkness. You must confront them and turn them into power." Something deep within Lisa stirred. "You mean face what I've been running from?" "Exactly. Embrace it. Make it yours. Only then will you transcend the chaos." The landscape around her darkened momentarily, shadows twisting in a frenetic dance that seemed to echo her inner turmoil. It was now or never. She had a choice to make. Taking a deep breath, she gathered the fragments of her courage. The whispers intensified, vying for her attention, promising sorrow if she faltered, but also immense power if she dared to yield to them. "Show me," she demanded, her tone firm, focusing on the stone pulsing in her palm. And just like that, the shadows rushed forward, swirling into a tempest around her. Lisa gasped as painful memories flooded in, moments of regret, deep fears, even flashes of anger that she had buried. They converged, a chaotic force threatening to engulf her. She wore the pain on her sleeve and felt it sharpen in her heart. But within this pain, she perceived glimmers of strength. The key was there, hidden beneath layers of hurt and despair. She could use this darkness, twist it, not to fuel the shadows, but to forge her own light. "Take me then," she shouted, raising her arms as the shadows encircled her. "I'm ready to fight back." With that, the swirling mass surged into her, catching her in its whirlwind. Every fear, every sorrow coursed through her veins, igniting her blood in a way she had never felt before. But as she embraced it, a nagging question lingered. Would she emerge as the powerful being she hoped to be, or would the darkness consume her utterly? The answer was lurking, waiting just beyond reach. "Choose wisely," Lisa echoed in her mind, a chilling reminder that the path she walked was fraught with danger and uncertainty. How long before the shadows tried to reclaim their hold? And could she truly master the darkness before it was too late? The shadows enveloped Lisa, sweeping her into a spiral of emotions that clawed at her mind. Each painful memory felt like a dagger, slicing through her resolve, but she held tight to the stone, feeling its warmth surge through her as it mingled with the darkness. Suddenly, the storm of shadows receded, revealing a cluttered space around her like a forgotten attic of the mind. Dust particles danced in the dim light of the wavering figure reflected in front of her. In this chaotic domain, profound whispers turned into anguished screams, echoing through the expanse. "Face them," her reflection urged, hands outstretched, beckoning her closer. "These are the shadows of your own making. They yearn for your acknowledgement." Memories surged forth like a tidal wave. A voice from her past, her mother's, resonated with disappointment, reminding her of the failures, the moments she let fear dictate her choices. Images of friends lost, paths unexplored, and dreams withered echoed around her. "Stop," Lisa shouted, clutching her head. "I don't want to feel this. I can't." "Fear is a silent predator," the figure replied, stepping even closer. "You run from it, yet it only gains strength. Show it your bravery, and it will bow to you." The air thickened, pressing down on her chest like an iron weight. The howls of her regrets circled around her, menacing and relentless. Yet, the ember in her heart flared, igniting the stone-esque glow. "Okay," she whispered, determination cutting through her panic. "I will face it." With that affirmation, she summoned her courage, reaching deep into the whirlwind of shadows. As she touched the sorrow, a stunning revelation washed over her. "You aren't masters of me," she declared, her voice lifting defiantly. "You are pieces of me." The ground trembled beneath her as energy surged from the stone, flooding her senses. The shadows twisted, contorting in agony as light erupted from within. Lisa felt the pain recede, transforming into something potent. Power rushed through her veins like wildfire. "Embrace that power," her reflection encouraged, smiling now, its features softening. "Let it be your guide." Lisa stretched out her arms, and with each breath, she felt herself pulling the darkness into a sphere of light. The chaotic whispers twisted, melding into harmonious melodies, guiding her. Fear became fuel. Regret became resolve. But the moment of triumph was short-lived. An ominous growl echoed, rippling through the air, a deep, guttural sound that seemed to hunger for her power. A shadow emerged from the swirling abyss, massive and monstrous, its ghastly eyes fixated on her. "You think you can conquer me?" it bellowed, its voice slithering through the air like smoke. "I am your deepest fear." Lisa's heart raced. She was no longer just battling memories. She was facing an embodiment of everything she had ever avoided, a creature born from her despair. "Lisa," Her reflection shouted, "Harness that light. You must confront it." The monstrous shadow lunged, and Lisa reacted instinctively, dodging its grasp. She felt every heartbeat thump like thunder in her chest as she focused on the light emanating from the stone. Summoning all her strength, she channeled the energy directly into the grasping tendrils. "Enough!" she screamed, her voice ringing with authority. "You don't control me." The shadow recoiled, snarling as the light engulfed it. For a heart-stopping moment, she saw flashes within its dark form, remnants of her fears, mirroring her experience, fractured and pained. "Let go," she whispered, and with that, she thrust her palm forward. The light exploded from her, engulfing the shadow in a brilliant burst. But as the darkness dissipated, a chilling chill swept over Lisa. Panic flooded back into her as she realized the light had revealed more shadows lurking in the corners, eyes glinting with malicious intent. Was this victory, or merely the calm before the storm? Could she truly defeat the shadows, or would the endless cycle of fear rebirth them anew, stronger than ever? The ominous rumbling grew nearer, echoing as if the very ground beneath her was alive with anticipation. She was on the brink, teetering between control and chaos. What if she wasn't ready? What if the next shadow was too powerful to confront alone? The weight of the unknown pressed down on her as she braced for the inevitable confrontation. The shadows around Lisa writhed and twisted, a swirling tempest of fear and darkness, each one seeming to pulse with malevolence. She could feel their eyes on her, 1,000 hungry gazes waiting for her resolve to falter. A sense of dread gnawed at her stomach, but deep down, she found a flicker of hope, the warm glow of the stone in her hand reminding her that she was not without power. "Step into the light," her reflection urged, its voice steady even as shadows surged in an unholy dance. "You have faced one fear. Now confront them all." The very air grew thick with energy, charged with anticipation. Lisa inhaled sharply, feeling the stakes rise as new forms emerged, grotesque visages with sharp teeth and hollow eyes, each one a demon of her suppressed emotions. "I can do this," she whispered to herself, her heart racing, feet steadying against the ground. But just as she steeled herself, a shriek tore through the air, slicing into her resolve. The sorrow of a past friendship gone awry materialized before her. Elena, bright and vibrant, now twisted into a negative image, a shell of what she once was. The shadow's voice echoed in her ears, a tormented mockery. "You abandoned me." "No," Lisa shouted, the warmth of the stone flaring in her grip. "I didn't abandon you. I didn't know how to help you. I was afraid." Elena's shadow stretched towards her, the anger wrapped tightly around it, pulling another shadow with it, a friend lost to addiction, to darkness, to despair. The memories all streamed together, a torrent of regret that tightened the grip around her throat. She gasped, struggling against the weight of guilt that threatened to suffocate her. "Feed them with your pain." The monstrous mass of shadows howled, swarming around her in a frenzy. "They are your creation. Let them consume you." "No," Lisa yelled again, finding her voice resonating with power. "You are not my creators. You are echoes of my past. I choose to be more than this." Fear surged through her, but along with it came determination. She raised the stone high, feeling the energy coursing through it amplify her will. "Shadows, hear me. You will not control me any longer." With a fierce cry, she summoned the light deeper from within, directing every ounce of hope towards the gathering storm of darkness. The air trembled, and with each heartbeat, the sphere of light at her core grew brighter and stronger, enveloping her like a beacon of defiance. The shadows recoiled, hissing as they danced away from the radiant light. Lisa felt exhilaration, her spirit soaring as she pressed on, determined to banish the specters of her past. "I own my choices. I face my fears," she shouted, letting the energy erupt from her in waves. But then, from the depths of the swirling darkness, a low growl rose, more ferocious than before, pulling her back from her triumph. "You think you can erase us? We are eternal." The voice roared, shaking the ground beneath her. The shadows consolidated, gathering strength and spinning faster, creating a vortex that threatened to pull her into a maw of despair. There was a flicker of confusion in her heart, a doubt that crawled like a worm through her mind. Could she really extinguish them? Or would they return, stronger, more insidious? With one last breath, she drew upon everything she had. The stone pulsed in her palm, a heartbeat matching hers, filling her with newfound strength. Lisa felt on the edge, her gaze locked on the growing storm, knowing that somewhere within that darkness, the core of her courage was waiting to ignite. Would this be her moment, or would she fall back into the abyss? The air crackled around her, charged with a choice she knew she had to make, next one that would either liberate her or bind her to the very shadows she fought so hard to escape. With the storm brewing, she gathered her courage, ready to embrace whatever came next. But was she truly prepared to face the ultimate darkness? Could the light she wielded be enough? The next wave registered in the silence of her breath as she steadied herself for the inevitable crash. The shadows surged, a tidal wave of darkness crashing toward her. Each twisted face a reminder of her failures, each growl a stomach-wrenching echo of her worst fears. Lisa's heart raced, pounding in sync with the thunderous roar of the vortex. She squeezed the stone tight, feeling its warmth seep into her skin, igniting her desire to fight. "You don't own me!" she screamed, her voice cutting through the chaos. "I will not drown in my past." As she invoked the power within her, the light shattered through the darkness like a sun breaking the dawn. The swirling shadows hesitated, faltering as the glow expanded. Lisa felt the energy of the stone surge through her, filling her veins with a burning resolve. But this light demanded everything from her: honesty, courage, and, most frightening of all, a willingness to confront the deepest parts of herself. The vortex began to shrink, the grotesque faces of her memories flickering, less defined, as if the light was washing away their malice. Yet, nestled within the shadows, an ominous presence loomed larger, darker, more terrifying than the rest. This was not an illusion of her past. It was a personification of all her fears coalesced into one dreadful form, a figure draped in shrouds of despair. "You think you can conquer me?" it hissed, a voice laced with venom. "You're just a scared little girl pretending to wield power." Lisa's breath hitched. That voice, it was familiar, a haunting echo of someone she once trusted. "No, you're wrong," she shouted, willing her voice to rise above the rising tide of despair. "You're not stronger than me." But doubt crept in with every hiss that curled around her. Was this figure the sum of her worst moments, the worry that she wasn't enough, the fear of being alone, the absolute terror of failure? The shadows around it swelled, grabbing at her ankles, pulling her down. The weight of her history squeezed her chest, robbing her of air. "Remember what they said," the darkness taunted, slithering closer. "They said you were weak, that you couldn't stand up for yourself. Just give in." Lisa wanted to scream, to let the anguish out, but all she could manage was a shaky breath. Up above, the dim light fought valiantly against the encroaching dark. Yet the strain of holding both hope and fear in her heart felt like too much to bear. In that moment of despair, it happened. The stone pulsed, a rhythmic thump that aligned with her heartbeat, grounding her in the present. The tears fell freely now, mixing with the sweat of determination on her brow. "I may be scared," she whispered, her voice soft yet resolute, "but I'm still here, and I can fight." With every ounce of courage, she thrust the stone forward, channeling all her fears into that radiant light. "You will not consume me," she shouted, unleashing a brilliant beam that split the shadows like lightning. The dark figure shrieked, the sound clawing at her ears. It began to dissolve, retreating into the darkness, leaving the lesser shadows to scatter. The pulsating glow in her palm became a whirlwind of brilliance, lifting her spirit higher. But just as the last remnants of gloom flickered away, a chilling laugh echoed through the ruins of her struggle. "You may have won this round, but I will return, and next time, I will not let you escape." Lisa stood breathless, the air swirling with remnants of the battle, her heart pounding like a war drum. Had she managed to banish the darkness? Or was this a temporary respite? As the light flickered and the waves of shadows persisted at the fringes of her awareness, she felt an unsettling question creep into her mind. What does true freedom really look like? She forced herself to take a step forward, aware that the fight was far from over. With every step, she resolved to find a way out. But deep down, she sensed that the real challenge still lay ahead. Could she remain strong when the shadows returned? The air crackled with tension as Lisa pushed against the remnants of darkness that clung to her. Each step felt heavier, as if made of lead, but she pressed onward. The echoes of the chilling laughter haunted her, reverberating through the remnants of the dark vortex. Was it really over? Or merely a pause in the onslaught? Get a grip, Lisa, she muttered to herself, urgency whipping through her veins. The stone pulsed warmly in her grasp, a beacon of her fragile hope. She breathed deeply, counting her breaths as she steadied her racing heart. One step at a time ahead, the dim light cast eerie shapes against the walls. They twisted and writhed like serpents, remnants of her memories still mingling in the shadows. A few breaths of hesitation gripped her, but she shook it off. There was no time for doubt. She had faced the abyss, and now she had to navigate a path through it. With every inch she took, the shadows seemed to pulsate around her. They whispered secrets, doubt and despair slinking around the edges of her mind. You think you won? You're still trapped. Look at you, lost, alone. No, she shouted, her voice defiant. You don't get to decide for me. The shadows recoiled slightly, and Lisa pressed her advantage, marching forward. A flicker of light caught her eye, a narrow beam cutting through the dark. It tore through the illusion like a knife, promising safety, freedom, or perhaps even truth. Whatever it was, Lisa was drawn toward it, and with each step, her determination grew. She couldn't back down now. Suddenly, she felt it a tightening in her chest, that familiar grip of fear surfacing once more. What if you're not enough? Taunted. What if you find out you were never meant to be free? But in that moment, a flicker of her own words echoed through her heart. I can fight. The mantra bolstered her, steadying her resolve. She reached the beam and allowed its light to wash over her, suffusing her being with warmth and clarity. Come on, Lisa. This is it. She breathed, gazing at the light, at what it promised. Her fingers trembled as she raised the stone again, its glow amplifying in response. I will find my own truth. As the light enveloped her, she felt a rush of memories failing on that project in high school, fumbling friendships, the relentless echo of being left behind. They surged briefly, a violent wave of emotion, and she gasped as they threatened to drown her. Face them. Face me. The darkness hissed from the corners of her heart. You think I'm going away? You are mine now. But Lisa felt the warmth of the stone surging. She held it to her chest. Every failure meant she had kept trying. Every rejection had forced her to grow. You don't define me, she said, voice clear and unwavering. I define my own worth. With renewed determination, she channeled that energy into the beam of light, pushing it outward. The shadows writhed in agony, contorting before her very eyes. No, no, they pleaded, as if sensing their impending defeat. The luminous beam enchanted her as it washed over them, forcing them back, fragmenting their hold on her heart. But then, amidst the chaos, she caught a flicker of movement, something shifting at the edges of her vision. A figure cloaked in darkness, obscured but with an aura too familiar to ignore. A shudder raced through her. Who are you? She demanded, but the figure merely tilted its head, the glint of knowing eyes cutting through the fog. Just like that, the shadows recoiled, granting her a moment of stillness. Lisa's breathing quickened, her thoughts spiraling. Who could it be? Was this another fear manifesting? Another challenge to face? Or a chance for understanding? Your journey isn't over, Lisa. The figure spoke softly, the voice resonating with chilling familiarity. The truth you seek is deeper than you think. Her stomach churned as she braced herself, realizing that every dark corner she illuminated only revealed a more complicated web beneath. What truth lurked behind that shadowy veil? As the light flickered, she felt the weight of what lay ahead, and for the first time, she truly wondered. How do you break free from something that knows you so intimately? The shadows coiled around Lisa, whispering her name with a promise of despair. But deep within her, the blazing warmth of the stones surged, mingling with the strength she had unearthed through her confrontation with her past. She could feel it, the truth coursing through her veins, igniting a fire with the potential to eradicate the darkness pressing in on her. Enough, she shouted, channeling her voice into the pulse of the light. I will not run anymore. I will face you. With each word, her confidence grew, resonating with a power that shattered illusions. The figure cloaked in shadow paused for a heartbeat, a flicker of uncertainty crossing its features. Brave words, but do you truly understand the depths of your hatred and fear? It hissed, the familiar voice echoing back all her insecurities. Lisa swallowed hard, recognizing the face hidden in the dark. It was a twisted image of herself, fearfully branded from all her what-ifs and regrets. You're not me. You're the parts of me I refuse to let define my future, she replied, no longer shying away. You think I am weak? You think I'll give in? I fought too hard to turn back now. Courage swelled within her as she stood tall, letting the stone blaze brilliantly. Light erupted like a star birthed in a cavern of darkness, cocooning her in brilliance that reflected every grain of her resilience. The shadows writhed, recoiling from the vivid glow of her determination. Face what you really are, her shadowed self screeched, rushing toward her, intending to extinguish the light that began to overpower it. Like a wave colliding with a mighty cliff, the dark image surged forth, but Lisa held her ground, focusing the energy pulsing from the stone into a brilliant beam. No, she screamed, lifting the stone high above her head with all her might. The light exploded from her in a dazzling, cascading wave, pushing back the shadows that begged for her submission. You cannot own me. You are born from my past, but you do not dictate my future. Her radiant declaration lit up the fragments of darkness, severing each connection the monsters ordered around her heart. The figure howled in rage, flickering as immense light enveloped it, its twisted edges crumbling. No, you will not escape. I am your truth. Lisa's heart raced and she pressed on. My truth is mine to define. You do not bind me to suffering. Polished strength radiated from her as despair disintegrated before the light. The shadows flickered and thrashed violently, screams mingling in a chaotic symphony as they shrunk away into nothingness, washed away like debris in a cleansing storm. Lisa's breath mingled with the fresh air that filled the space. Punctuated by moments of breathtaking stillness, the battle ended, peace returning where darkness once festered. Standing alone, she felt the warmth of the stone still pulsing in her palm. It was then she truly understood. She had not just defeated the shadows. She had liberated the truth within her, a truth that embraced fear, rejection, love, and resilience. The weight of her past had transformed into a bridge to forge her future, and as the brightness surrounded her, it became clear freedom lay not in the absence of shadows but in the acceptance to wield them. And then the place shimmered, reshaping around her, the eerie landscape fading to reveal the familiar comforts of home, a world at once expanded and renewed. The darkness may have taught her its harsh lessons, but it had also gifted her self-discovery. Lisa took a deep, grateful breath, feeling lighter than she had in years. I know who I am, she whispered to the fading shadows, and I will never let fear dictate my choices again. With newfound purpose, she stepped forward, feeling a quiet confidence mingle with hope. She would face every challenge, every shadow, and instead of fearing them, she would embrace them, innovating her own story where light and dark coexisted harmoniously. As she reached toward the door leading back, the warmth of the stone filled her with energy, reminding her that the power to shape her future lay within. Beyond the threshold, she knew life awaited, full of promises and new discoveries. As she forged ahead, ready to live unapologetically, and beyond that moment, she took a step, knowing this was not an end, but a sweet beginning, a celebration of autonomy amidst complexity, a glorious journey through light and shadow, the ultimate mastery of her destiny. Now, dear friends, if you felt every beat of Lisa's journey, if you were captivated by her struggle and triumph, You need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second to join this incredible community. You want to miss the next exclusive stories that are coming your way. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help others find this uplifting journey. Don't forget to flood the comments section. Share your reactions, your thoughts, your theories about Lisa's transformation. And please, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this conclusion. Your support means the world, and only true fans understand the importance of building this vibrant community together.